And we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well. You had a nice week and all that. Busy week for sure for those of us who follow EU news. Well, I've been watching what's happening in the parliament, but we're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about fun stuff. Let's try. I make no guarantee. But yeah, this is the final stream of the season for me. So as always, for the occasion, I prepared something special for you. So this time I wanted to go a bit above and beyond. And that's how I came up with tonight's event, which is called the Bubble Quiz. So to explain a bit how we came to that, why we are here tonight, it all started actually back in September when von der Leyen pronounced the State of the Union speech. Some of you may remember back then the Commission had the bright idea to release a board game for the occasion. They said, yeah, of course, State of the Union, I'm going to release a board game. That's what everybody is thinking. That's normal. So they released a board game and something very basic. So it was like you had to answer a bunch of questions about the von der Leyen Commission, what politics are, etc., how to progress. And back then, after some banter on Twitter, I had promised that I would make a stream on the game and play it online. Except that when I actually looked at the game and started looking at the questions, I realized that there was simply no way in hell I would make a stream about it. Because like, even me, so I've been in Brussels for nearly 10 years, working. Oh, someone left the camera, so everything is screwed up. We broke everything. Leonardo, come back online. In the meantime. Okay, better. Thanks, Leonardo. What was I saying? So yeah, even me, who knew, like I was being in Brussels for nearly 10 years, out of all the questions, I maybe knew or could have guessed the answer for 20% of the questions. All the rest, I have absolutely no clue what the way it was about. It was super technical stuff, and let's face it, it was pretty boring. So after that adventure, I decided to design my own EU game, to make a quiz about the EU that would actually be fun to play and to watch. So I spent the next few months designing it, taking inspiration particularly from a French game that is called the Burger Quiz. So if there are French people there, you might have heard of it. And after several versions of the game, I'm now very happy to show you the final product that we will play tonight. So the game tonight will pitch 4 people who volunteered kindly to be there tonight in 3 games that will challenge their knowledge of the EU, their instincts, and also their wits. So in the first 2 games, I will re-explain everything in detail a bit later, but just to give you like the short version, in the first 2 games, they will play in teams of 2. Named after the channel's mascot. So you will have on the one end Team Sazu Michel and on the other end Team Goku Ursula. So Michel and Ursula. And the final game will be played only by the team that scored the best, and you will decide who will win. And at a couple of points in the game, you in the chat will be able to decide what happens. But before I go into the details of game, etc., let me introduce you to our challengers. Up, there we go. Hi everyone. So first, we have Christophe. So Christophe has been working 10 years in the bubble, and for the last 5 years, he's been working in the consultancy, Teneo, where he works on tech and industry. And now I asked everyone to put a little comment. His comment for him was that he's now too old and settled to go to Plox anymore. I have to say that I'm with him on this one. Then we have Sofia. Sofia came to Brussels actually also 10 years ago as a lobbyist, and now she's working in the parliament as head of office of an MEP from Sweden in the European Parliament, where she works on climate, energy, migration, and labor market. So hi, Sofia. And so Sofia and Christophe will form the first team, which is will be Team Ursula, Team Goku Ursula, as we call them on the channel. For the second team, we have Craig, who has been in Brussels for 22 years. So I think that he's the most veteran, EU veteran of us all. So he's been in Brussels for 22 years. He's been there as a journalist. He worked in Politico, for instance. So I think that everyone knows Politico, Wall Street Journal as well. And now he's working in communication on renewable energy and transport. And the final contestant is Leonardo, who is on the contrary, so the newest of us in the bubble. He's been there for about a year in Brussels, but he's been, as he said, a veteran in EU nerdiness. So, and he says that to afford the beer and the fries when going out, he works in public affairs for Weber Shandwick. So thank you again, guys, for being with us tonight. I hope that you're going to have fun, that you're going to perform well. But of course, there will be no judgment if you answer bad. I mean, it's just going to be on the internet forever. So what could ever happen? But yeah, let's dive into it. So I shared with everyone, so we're going to play the game through a website that is called AS Slide, that facilitates this kind of quizzes. So like I said, there will be 3 games tonight. We're going to play 3 different parts. The first part is called Cogito Ipso Sum, which is going to be a quiz. The second part will be the seed dilemma, and the final part will be the midday meme. So let me pass to the next one. All right, so the first game, like I said, is going to be the quiz, the Cogito Ipso Sum. The rules are simple. Each team will have to choose a theme among 6. There will be 6 thematic quiz. Each team choose one. So Team Ursula choose one quiz, Team Michel choose one quiz. And then the audience, so you guys in the chat, you choose a third quiz that they will have to answer. Once we know the three quizzes, we start answering the questions. Each team, the teams are playing together, of course, and their score will be added together and then cumulated by team, and we'll go back to the leaderboard. Before I show the list of questionnaire, just as a general rule for the quiz, and it will be valid for the different phase of the game. When I will be reading the questions and all that, as courtesy rules, you can't start answering the question. So for people, you will have to click the answers. You can't start answering the question before I finish reading the question and the propositions or answer. For each question, you will have 30 seconds more or less to answer, so there should be plenty of time. Other rule, you can speak, of course, while we're doing the quiz, but you're not allowed to share information and answer with your teammates or to try to influence the other team. But otherwise, you're welcome to talk during the quiz. So now let's discover the 6 different themes. So first theme is you can choose between Know Your EU meme, Things That a Citizen Would Never Believe, EU Historical Facts, Know Your EU Punchline, Do You Speak Eurocrat, and Juncker is the greatest of all time. So I will ask Team Ursula, Christophe, Sophia, what would be your pick?
I would go for Do You Speak Eurocrat or Historical Facts. I'm a bit of a classic quizzer.
Let's do the Eurocrat then.
Okay, Eurocrat. Team Michel, what do you choose?
I would go for Know Your EU Punchline or Know Your EU Meme, but I'm open.
Yeah, but my original idea was to have Do You Speak Eurocrat, but that was already said. So Punchline. Yeah, Punchline seems like a good fit. Yeah.
Okay, Punchline. All right. Now, chat, get ready because you will have to choose the final one. So I need to create a poll. Just bear with me 1 second. Where are you? Twitch, you are there. Create a poll. Créer un nouveau sondage, merci. What should be the final quiz? And so we said, Know Your EU meme, Things That a Citizen Would Never Believe, EU Historical Facts, and Juncker is the greatest of all time. Up. Chat, you have 1 minute to make your choice. Up. So you can vote directly through the chat, so do it now. Okay, so in the meantime, so we're going to start with the Eurocrat one. So I will get the slides ready. Chat, do vote in chat. Can you answer the chat is asking? Can you answer the question on the chat? You can, but it's not going to be counted in the game. So if you want yourself to answer with the chat, okay, what compete among yourself, what you would answer, you can. And I wanted to do that initially, like to allow you to answer on the side, but that proved logistically too complicated at this stage. But yeah, I mean, if you want to throw your answers in the chat, you can do it, of course, but that's not going to be counted as part of the thing. It would have been more fun, I agree, but yeah, logistically, that was a whole mess to organize. Oh, okay, so we have a tie. So either it's things that a citizen would not believe, or what's Twitch doing? Or EU historical facts. Let's do a second one because I want you guys to decide which one. Again, things that a citizen would never believe, and EU historical facts. You have 1 minute. Again, do vote in the chat. In the meantime, so I know, Craig, you've been bantering on Twitter that we were preparing pretty heavily for the stream. Did any of you made any preparation for the quiz tonight, or you're going blind and trusting fully your pure knowledge?
I'm afraid clients did not allow me to prepare for this quiz.
Yeah, going in totally unprepared.
Unprepared.
Yeah, same. We have a level playing field here.
All right. Already we're starting to place EU jargon. I see that we're already preparing to the quiz about speaking Eurocrats. I see a strong show of force from Team Michel there, but good on you. Okay, let's see. Up, what are the results? EU historical facts seems to be the one winning, so it's going to be history. All right, so up. Give me a sec. That's done. Up. I need to put that aside. I'm going to stop the presentation and I will send you the new one. So we said we were starting with the do you speak Eurocrat? Up. Eurocrat is there. Posting it in the chat right now. Up. Just need to fix the camera for the chat. That way it's nice and pretty for everyone. I see 3 of you are already connected. Final one. Who's not yet connected? Up. You have 3 out of 4. The link is in the chat. Normally you should be able to... I have 5 now. Okay, 4. Everyone is there? Alright, so let's dive into it. So, first theme, do you speak Eurocrat? So again, in terms of route, you have 10 questions to answer, 1 point per correct answer. You vote through the website, so you will have the option to put your votes. You will have 30 seconds to answer per question. You can speak, but not share information, of course. And after each question, I will provide a little bit of information on the answer. So first up, do put yourself in the team. Put your first name and select your team, and then we can start. All right, Sophia, Christophe. Leonardo and Craig, that's perfect. All right, let's do this. Let's start the quiz. So again, you can't answer before I give the answer. Which one of these is not a EU acronym? Is it Jedi, Tapas, Nuts, or Elf?
Not easy.
Remember, you have to click and then you have to submit the vote, otherwise it doesn't count. 5 seconds left. Okay, everyone has answered. And so the right answer actually is ELF, and I will give you the correct acronym. Jedi is the acronym for Joint European Disruptive Initiative. TAPAS is for Technical Action Plan for Agricultural Statistics, and NUTS is nomenclature of territorial units for statistics. But yeah, I'm surprised that no one went for the right one. I thought Jedi it was a big thing for the commission at some point. They were very proud of their acronym, but
The Jedi one I've heard about extensively, and Nuts is a classic one.
Maybe I'm just liberally biased, but for me, ELF is the European Liberal Forum, so I thought that's a clear EU.
Okay.
Oops, we got it. We already have a dispute.
Okay, we have a dispute, but I will go with. I will decide that it's okay because, okay, I didn't know this one. I didn't see. When I said the EU acronym, I should have said okay, Commission acronym. Maybe I should have said. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll take that for the next one. Question 2. What is a Spitzenkandidat? Is it the nickname of those ranked in Politico's worst EU politician, a failed candidate to the European Parliament, a party candidate for the job of President of the Commission, or nothing is just a made-up word?
I don't know whether to put. We'll have to
All of the above.
possibilities.
All of the above.
Also, yeah.
I mean, you could say that all words are made-up words. And everyone got the right answer, of course. A Spitzenkandidat is the party candidate to become president of the commission. So it was invented as a, for the little story, it was invented as a way to try to increase the democratic legitimacy of the president of the commission. And also, of course, increase the power of the European Parliament. That's how we got in 2014 Jean-Claude Juncker as president of the Parliament. But of course, Council was not too thrilled about it, and so they killed it in 2019 because they didn't want Manfred Weber as president. And I would expect that they will want to kill it again in 2024. But that's another story we'll see in a year and a half. But that's the. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm even surprised that in 2014 the council agreed to the Spitzenkandidat. But well, that's just me. All right, next one. True or false? There is an official report made by the EU institution to list the bad English used by other EU institutions. True or false? Are you guessing, or do some of you know for sure the answer? And it's true, okay, you all guessed right, indeed. Since 2013, the European Court of Auditor, as a way to troll the other institution, I guess, has an official report that they edit every year, entitled Misuse English Words and Expressions in EU Publication to Underline the Approximate English Used in the Other Institutions. That's, I mean, I don't know many examples of institutional trolling to that point, but when I discovered that I thought that was pretty good, so I'm glad that other people heard about it. What was the nickname given to a parliamentary assistant by a parliament civil servant union? The Apache, the Parasites, the Slaves, or the Nurses? It's not a recent one. I've only heard it back when I started as an assistant, so that's nearly 10 years ago. So it's not a recent one. All right. And indeed, it was the Apache. And the slaves, that could have worked as well. But why the Apache? So basically, the Apache, it was an expression that was used by one of the Parliament Civil Servants Union to talk about MEP assistants because they saw them as a potential threat for their own civil servant status, because MEP assistants have a bit of intermediate status. They're not fully civil servants, but they have some perks linked to civil servants. So they're a bit of an in-between, and some civil servants were seeing that as a threat. And so why Apache? Because the acronym for parliamentary assistant is APA.
Which, by the way, means monkey in Swedish. So it's very funny to be an monkey in Sweden.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. All right, I will note that somewhere, because that makes actually for a good thing. Anyone else knows, like, does APA mean something in your respective language? Monkey in Swedish. Okay. So imagine, like, assistants don't really like to see emails saying APA should do stuff. All right, let's go for the next. True or false? There is an EU definition of what is a meme.
Ooh.
True or false? In the meantime, I'm just reacting to the chat. Thanks for the follow and the sub. That's always appreciated. And indeed, that is true. There is a EU definition.
And I can tell you why that is. It is because of the entire copyright discussion we had a couple of years ago, which I was one of the lobbyists on. They had to define memes so that memes would get an exclusion in, I think, one of the annexes of the copyright.
And actually, that's wrong. I mean, I can even supersede you because I was working on copyright as well, but I was even in the negotiation room, so I can tell you that.
No, but I know that's where the definition comes from.
No, that's not where the definition comes from. And there was indeed as part of the, like, I'm going now into the details, but like on the Copyright Act, indeed there was not a definition. No one in the parliament suggested a definition of memes. There were suggestions of what is user-generated content, but for the definition of meme, it comes from a report from the Radicalization Awareness Network that define memes as the cultural units of meaning, images, text, or audio fragments that develop and spread virally by copying and combining other units. And it was in a report entitled "It's Not Funny Anymore: Far-Right Extremism, Use of Humor."
Wow.
So it was about extremism.
That's a very EU jargon definition of meme.
Yeah. To be fair to them, I did some digging into it. Even if like that's the first time that this definition appears in EU documentation, there are elements of it that were already in academic papers. So not the full definition like that, but like the idea of cultural unit of meaning. That's something that existed in literature to discuss about memes. But that's, as far as I can tell, the first time that an official EU document has a proper definition of meme about some in the context of something about radicalization.
Hopefully, it will be soon part of the fundamental freedoms of the EU. The movement of memes.
That's part of freedom of expression. I'm not going. I don't want to go into a copyright debate. Not right now.
Sorry.
All right. Next question. What is called the Brussels effect? Is it the chronic depression of Southern Europeans living in Brussels? Is it the extra-European influence of EU law? Is it the loss of media visibility for politicians becoming MEPs? Or is it the difficulty to re-enter national politics after being elected MEP? All right, let's see what you... Oh, okay, so I thought that everyone would know this one, but okay. So indeed, the Brussels effect, it designates the regulatory influence of the EU on the rest of the world, notably because of the single market. And so that was a concept that was observed and proposed, ironically, in the US. It's an American researcher from the Columbia Law School that came up with the concept, taking inspiration from the so-called California effect, which in the US has a similar effect, meaning that California law influenced the law in the other American states. So she, the researcher, which is called Anu Bradford, observed that the EU had a similar influence on the rest of the world when it comes to data protection, antitrust, chemical regulations, these sort of things. And so that's something since then. So that was, I would say, invented in 2012, and then since then everyone loves to remind of the Brussels effect in Brussels to underline how good we are, how important we are. All right, next question. Which of these is not the official acronym of an organization registered in the EU Transparency Register? BFF, Yoda, LOL, or DND? So which one is not?
I still think the best one is Surreal, which is the European Association for Breakfast Cereal.
Really?
They exist, yeah, Surreal.
Wow. So indeed,
cereal. You can pronounce it as cereal, but I prefer to pronounce it as surreal.
Okay, that's nice. So indeed, the right answer was LOL. So to give you the other abbreviation, so BFF is the Bond Free Foundation, Yoda is the Youth Organization for Drug Action, and DND is DND Consulting Services. But yeah. All right. I looked through a lot of acronyms to find those. I was surprised to see like the Yoda one. I was like, no, that's trolling, especially for something for drug action. I was like, why? Just why? I mean, either it's. I mean, you could make the argument that that Yoda is pretty stoned when he's speaking, but yeah.
Yeah.
Still, as a Star Wars fan, I took it as a bit as an offense, but. All right.
I share your concerns as a Star Wars fan myself.
All right. Which one is not the name of an EU document? A non-paper, a green paper, a blue book, or a white paper? So which one is not a type of EU document? And indeed, it was a blue book. So a blue book, what is it? Is the name of the EU internship program. So many interns in Brussels going through the blue book program. So to explain you what are the other, a non-paper is an unofficial document put forward in close negotiation to seek agreements. So when the Commission is making compromise proposals in trilogues, for instance. A green paper is a document published by the Commission to let's say, launch a discussion or debate and invite people to take part to a consultation. And finally, a white paper is a document containing proposals for actions in a specific area. So all that is coming from the Commission. But I don't know if you know, like, why did they decide to go for green paper, white paper, I mean, non-paper? I mean, who came up with it? Is that jargon that we find like all around the world? Like every institution in the world is using that, or is it like the Commission that decided to go fancy and with that? I have no clue personally, but
isn't it even weirder to call the stagiaire program Blue Book?
But I know that for the Blue Book, it like comes from like originally there was like a written registry for like people who actually applied for the blue book, and this book was actually blue. As far as I know, this is why it's called Blue Book.
Makes sense.
Interesting. Okay, makes sense. Let's go in the next one.
There's no explanation for non-paper.
It doesn't exist. The paper doesn't exist.
It's a non-entity. Yeah.
So what is the anti-chi? It is the nickname given to Eurosceptics after the Antichrist. Is the name of an informal group in the council, named after its founder? Is the name of the EU anti-corruption office? Or is it the name given to the dinner between head of states at European councils? So when all the head of states are meeting in Brussels. Everyone got it right, indeed. That's the name of an informal group in the council, named after its founder. So it was, I'm trying to look for the name. I don't have the name. So it was Mr. Antici, I guess. So it was Italian. So the Antici group, its job is to prepare the discussion in Coreper 2, which gather, let's say, all the ambassadors of the member states before discussion. And so that's they are trying to prepare the groundwork to ease the discussions later on. All right, let's move on to the final question of this first quiz. What is the name of the informal legislative negotiations between the Parliament, the Commission, and the Council? A conciliation, a trilogue, a parley, or there is no such thing as informal negotiations? It's a non-entity. Everyone got it right, of course. It's a trilogue. It's I mean, it's an informal negotiation, but there's nothing informal in this negotiation. I mean, everyone it's in an official room. Everyone is wearing suit and ties and all that. But yeah, it's the system to circumvent second lectures and to try to speed up the process for negotiation. So let's see how everyone scored. Okay, so Team Sazu Michel is taking the lead with 15 points. So I will note that Team Sazu Michel is scoring 15. Ursula is scoring 13. Let me go in the other. Alright, let's go there. I need to find the score. Okay, so we said Team Sazu Michel, 15. Team Goku Ursula, 13. Alright, need to do that. Alright, I'm closing the presentation. All right. And so the next one we said is going to know your EU punchline. So up. I'm going to post it in the chat. Just bear with me a second. So you can leave this page already if you haven't been kicked out already. Up. Give me a sec. I haven't launched yet the thing. Right, that should be starting on your side. Up again. I'm adjusting that for the chat. 3 of you are already connected. Up. Okay, 4 of you. All right, so same system. Put your names and pick your teams, and then we can dive into it. So by the way, how was this first quiz? Too easy, too difficult? Did you learn stuff? Any opinion?
I still already on acronyms in the transparency register because there are some truly bizarre ones in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea that all those weird ones existed.
I mean, to be fair, there's like what 15,000 entries in the in the transparency register. So
Did you actually go through all of them?
I went through. I don't know if I went through all of them, but yeah, I did download a database with the acronyms, and I went through to see if there was anything that was catching my eye.
Wow.
But again, like I said, it took me a couple of months to prepare the game. So yeah, I did take some time. All right, let's start this quiz now. First question. Who allegedly said, if the European Union had to be constructed anew, then I would start with culture? Is it Jean Monnet, André Malraux, Altiero Spinelli, or Simone Veil? For some reason...
And getting harder now.
Yeah.
And it was Jean Monnet. Jean Monnet allegedly said that, even if the sentence is attributed to him, but there is no certainty that he actually said it. But in popular culture, it became a popular legend to say that Jean Monnet would restart the EU by starting with culture if he had a chance. So we'll never know if he really said that, but well, the legend said that he does. If you go around the European Parliament in the Culture Committee, that's something that you will hear a lot in MEP speeches. Next one. Who said, "What more does this housewife want from me? My balls on a platter"? Was it Jacques Chirac, Jean-Claude Juncker, Boris Johnson, or Silvio Berlusconi?
Housewife means.
Oh,
And it was Jacques Chirac, indeed. So
It was about Thatcher, right?
yes, it was about Thatcher.
Yes.
So the story goes, so we're in 1988. Jacques Chirac is then French Prime Minister, and he's participating to an EU summit in Brussels, where Margaret Thatcher, so the British Prime Minister then, was demanding the rebate, so that the part of the British contribution to the budget of the European Union be paid back to the UK, and in an angry reaction, Jacques Chirac, forgetting that his mic was on, said this to Margaret Thatcher, who asked for a translation about what he was saying. Even if I will say that the English translation doesn't do justice to the original French.
So I when I was at university, I read Thatcher's Downing Street years, and it is mentioned in there.
Oh, wow.
Incident.
she holds
So
it well.
what was her reaction then?
Amused. I think it's the best way of describing it. She was quite stoic about these things. She wouldn't go like
Yeah.
that. But
She's the kind of person.
it is mentioned in her autobiography of her premiership.
Yeah, and apparently, so back then, so in France it was a cohabitation. So you had like a president that was left wing, so it was Mitterrand, and a prime minister that was right wing. So whenever there was a EU summit, actually both of them were coming, so that they could keep each other in check. And so apparently, Chirac, after saying this, Mitterrand had a slightly amused smile, looking at the whole situation, with Chirac trying to save the situation by apologizing without apologizing. The other diplomats around trying to translate to Margaret Thatcher without going too much into literal translation. So apparently it was a whole mess.
Because he really meant it. So
I would have liked to be in the room, because I mean, knowing how Chirac can be when he goes off, that must have been like really funny to watch happen. But yeah, it's one of the, like, when Jacques Chirac died a few years ago. When he died, he was very familiar with like doing this kind of punchline, and so every news outlet made a top 10 of his punchline, and like this one was pretty much always in the list, because that's one of the most legendary that he said. All right, next question. Complete the quote. Brexit means Global Britain, Brexit, freedom, or leaving. Someone's not sure yet? All right. And indeed, Brexit means Brexit. So,
I worked at the British Embassy in Brussels when Brexit happened. And
okay. Do tell.
The first couple of weeks after the referendum, we obviously got new speaking points from London, from the SCO, and I kid you not, Brexit means Brexit was a official speaking point from the government at that point, that even diplomats had to use.
Yeah, I remember like back then. So back then I was in Parliament, like 2016, like, and it happened like I had many friends in the ECR British delegation. So a lot of conservatives, and like I remember like before the referendum, they were all, oh, but you know, it's gonna be fine. There is going to be a 60-40. British people are reasonable. They're going to vote to remain, etc., etc. The day after, they were not happy people. They were definitely not happy people.
It was 60-40, but on the other way around.
Yeah, that's but yeah, they felt the pain for sure. But yeah, for the rest of the story, Brexit means Brexit. So that came up in 2016 after the result of the referendum, and it was famously pronounced by Theresa May, who was then campaigning to become prime minister after David Cameron took the political courage of running for the hills after making a mess. And so Theresa May, as a pushback against the suggestion that the government should ignore the referendum and that should not leave the EU, she said, no, Brexit means Brexit. So it became a rallying cry of Brexiteers for the years to come, and also a symbol of the British not knowing actually what they want to do with Brexit, apart from leaving the concept of the EU.
And as much as the British hate EU jargon, it sounds exactly like EU jargon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Complete the quote. To understand Europe, you have to be a genius or insane, Belgian, French, or high.
Oh.
You have to be French.
Oh, okay.
You have to be French. So the quote comes from the former now U.S. Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, who to talk about Europe and the fact that it's a pretty complicated thing to understand when you're not on the continent, famously said that to understand Europe, you have to be a genius or French. I mean, again, not if I didn't know the quote, I could have put Belgian as well. That would make sense as well in the context. Question 5. Who said, a socialist United States of Europe seems to me the only worthwhile political objective today? Aldous Huxley, George Orwell, Victor Hugo or Jean Jaurès? We're going into the intricate stuff. Huh? I'm not giving you like the easy quotes anymore. And that was George Orwell, actually. In 1947, he wrote an essay called Towards European Unity, in which he said that a united Europe was, in his opinion, the only way to stop war on the continent. And so he also saw the potential European Union as a counterweight for the Soviet Union and the US. Even if back then, in his vision, like the Europe would have been only Western Europe mostly. The Eastern Europe, in his opinion, was not on the list. I don't remember like the exact explanation. I think it's about like democratic traditions or whatever. But yeah, Orwell was a pro-European in the end.
This was difficult.
Yeah. This one, Victor Hugo could have worked. What was Romano Prodi talking about when he said, you can call it Margaret, you can call it Marianne, you can find any name? Was he talking about a European army, the European common currency, the European constitution, or the Spitzenkandidat system? So back then, for the context, Romano Prodi was president of the European Commission. So we are beginning of the year 2000s.
Very tricky.
It was about a European army. He said that in 2000 as a response to the complaints, notably of the British government, but not only, about the newly created Euroforce, so the European Rapid Reaction Force. And so he said, in his opinion, so the complete quote goes like this. If you don't want to call it a European army, don't call it a European army. You can call it Margaret, you can call it Marianne, you can find any name, but it is a joint effort for peacekeeping mission, the first time you have a joint, not bilateral effort at European level.
I love the idea that the problem was the name.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the name, I mean, per se. He just say, well, to an extent, yes, it's the toxicity of the concept of a European army that you hear everywhere, every time.
Sounds like a very Romano Prodi sentence.
Oh, really?
To me, yeah. I mean, because he's famous of being, this kind of, middle way between serious and not serious when he talks.
All right. Question 7. One sentence Margaritis Schinas did not pronounce during a European Commission midday briefing. Les frites, c'est chic. The UK should tell us what they want, what they really, really want. We appreciate the little dancing, but it always takes two to tango. Or Hello Kitty, the anthropomorphic cat girl also known as Kitty White. So which one was not a thing that Margaritis Schinas said during a midday briefing in the European Commission? So for the audience, the midday briefing is the daily press briefing that the Commission is organizing to comment its decisions and all that. And indeed, it was the Hello Kitty reference, but
It was a spokesperson.
it was actually said in the Commission midday briefing, but by another spokesperson. All the other
Famously didn't break out into laughing while the entire room did while he did it.
Yes,
it's historic, really.
Yeah, it's a great clip. You can find it on Twitter. It's a great clip. And so, why was the Commission talking about it? Oh shit! I did the bêtise. Give me a sec. Start the quiz. Okay, I did something wrong. Okay, I'll explain the story later on. Who compared the European project to a plan of the globalism forces to transfer people into Homo Bruxellius, just like the communists trying to turn people into Homo Sovieticus. And I'll go back to the Hello Kitty thing afterwards. So was it Farage, Viktor Orban, Marine Le Pen, or Matteo Salvini? And so yeah, in the meantime, so the Hello Kitty thing, it was actually a case that the Commission had to deal with for a question of IP, intellectual protection or intellectual property of Hello Kitty. And so you had the famous explanation of who is Hello Kitty, what is her full name, and all that. Indeed, the spokesperson said all that without.
Happened when there was a BDA briefing and there was a story in the Belgian press on that European legislation on something chemicals related would ban the baking process of Belgian fries, which is twice and goes to higher temperatures and potentially could cause cancer. And then Chinas personally chose to take the question from Belgian journalists instead of leaving it to the spokespeople to answer.
And
to reassure the Belgian people that their fries are not in danger.
And the other two were comments of Skinas answering the journalists about related to Brexit negotiations. So there was one was a reference to the Spice Girls, and the reference to the dancing was when I don't know if you remember the little dance that Theresa May did while going into a conference. But yeah, going back to this one. So the Homo Bruxellius one is of course from Viktor Orban. I'm going to read you the full quote. So that's something that he said in 2017 during a speech on the Hungarian National Day. And so the quote goes like this. So, we wanted to believe that the old troubles could no longer return. We wanted to believe that the deranged dream that the communists had of turning Hungarian into Homo Sovieticus could never return ever again. And now, here we are, astonished to see that the forces of globalism are trying to force our doors open, and are working on turning Hungarian into Homo Bruxellius. So, another famous Viktor Orban punchline, a staple of his building of the concept of the illiberal democracies in Hungary and its ongoing love story with the European Union and the European Commission, of course. To be fair, I keep like a file with a lot of like punchlines like that, and I have quite a few Viktor Orban entries. He's quite prolific in terms of punchline in that genre.
Yeah, I imagine.
In fairness, Nigel Farage did compare the EU several times to the Soviet Union, so
yeah.
Question 9. Who did Nigel Farage compare to an unknown damp rag with the appearance of a low-grade clerk? Speaking of the devil. Was it Guy Verhofstadt, José Manuel Barroso, Herman Van Rompuy, or Donald Tusk? And it was indeed Herman Van Rompuy. So it was in 2010, and so Herman Van Rompuy was just making his first speech in the European Parliament as the very first president of the European Council. So he was the Charles Michel of the time, to put it like that. And famously, in one of his famous plenary speech, Nigel Farage just wailed into him saying, "You have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk." And the question that I want to ask, that we're all going to ask, is who are you? I've never heard of you. Nobody in Europe has ever heard of you.
Interestingly, some have argued that it was that speech that made Farage quite a bit bigger in UK politics.
It was one of the big speech he made that actually are pretty famous in his years in the parliament. But back then, pretty much on every plenary, you could expect him to go on almost on a fist fight with Guy Verhofstadt during speeches. It was always very entertaining.
Mm-hmm. And also Juncker trying to block cameras from...
Juncker, I thought was interesting in his way of dealing with Farage.
Yeah.
So complete this quote from Jacques Delors. Europe is a Ferrari with a tank cannon, a 2CV engine, jet fuel, or slashed tires. So yeah, Juncker was had a good way to deal with Farage, because instead of ignoring him, he was addressing him, saying, "Oh, you're saying bullshit," and he was playing a bit with him. And indeed, it was the 2CV engine, and so that this Europe is a Ferrari with 2CV engine was like an image that Jacques Delors, when he was president of the Commission, was commonly using to explain the lengthy process of the European institutions. And the wasted potentially. But indeed, the slash tires could have worked as well. I see that no one went with the optimist option that that the EU is overperforming.
Yeah.
I
Doesn't
won't.
seem likely.
Not even then.
No.
No. And yeah, well, that was the final question. So actually, it was a bit more a struggle this time, but equality, 8 points for each team. So up, I'm going to add that to the list. Shit, I should have done that. Yeah, so that's 23 there, and that's 19. Okay. Up, I'm going to update all this leaderboard. So right now we have Team Sazu Michel. You are at 23 points, and Team Gokursula, you are at 19. So slight lead from
Tight race.
tight race. Let me stop the presentation, and we'll go into the final quiz for the first part of the game, which is the historical facts. So this one was chosen by the chat. So we'll see how you will fare in this one. I'm posting the link right now. Present backstage. As usual, I'm just on chat. Up. Shouldn't be at 21. It was 15 and then 8. No, they should be. Okay. I thought you were talking for. Let me check my notes. Because I have 13 plus 8. Yes, you're right. But so yeah, sorry, it's even tighter than I thought. It's 21. Thanks for the save. Avil died, so it's even closer than I initially calculated. And I don't know why I made a mistake. Indeed, it seems like you know why now I went into the law studies and not into science studies. Up. All right. So corrected. Thanks for the correction. Okay. So 23 to 21. Up. Final one. EU historical facts. Up. I'll let you go into your respective teams. Yeah, I know what I did wrong. Up. All right, let's start. In 1964, there was a Costa Enel ruling, which is one of the most important decisions of the Court of Justice, which established the primacy of EU law. So the EU law becomes superior to national law. But what was the origin of that decision? Was it an unpaid electricity bill, an undue arrest, the sale of knockoff Parmesan, or a border check? What is the fact that started the legendary Costa Enel ruling that created the primacy of EU law? And it was indeed an unpaid electricity bill because, of course, Enel is an energy company in Italy. And back then, Mr. Costa had refused to pay an electricity bill to the newly created Enel energy company that was a result of a nationalization of the energy market in Italy. And so you had the Italian Constitutional Court that had rejected the request of Mr. Costa, who then appealed to the Court of Justice of the European Union. And the Court of Justice of the European Union said, no, Costa, the nationalization doesn't work because it was nationalized after the adoption of the EU law linked to that. So it was not legal. And so that created this fancy little thing called the primacy of EU law, just one of the pillars of European Union. Nothing very important. I know that some countries on the Poland or Hungary have slight issue with the concept. Even Germany sometimes also has issues with the concept when it comes to secondary law. But yeah,
When
an important
used to be at the forefront of EU integration, sadly.
All right, next question. I reassure you, we won't go into all the ruling of the commission.
That is a real funny story. I'm not going to say which one it is, but it's an amazing story.
Okay, so what happened at the signature ceremony of the Treaty of Rome? So one signatory got lost and missed the ceremony. The text of the Treaty of Rome never arrived in Rome. The camera broke, so there's no official picture of the event. All France threatened to veto the treaty unless it was taking place in Paris at the last moment. So what happened during this ceremony? Oh, only one knew the story.
Yeah, so the story is that there was a strike of the translators, and which why the treaty was never translated in time, and which why they literally signed blank pieces of paper.
So there's actually different, let's say, steps in the story. First step is back then, so we're in 1957. You don't exactly have photocopiers around, and so the treaty was supposed to be shipped by train from Brussels to Rome. Except that somehow it didn't arrive, and they only had a non-translated version of the text due to a strike of the translator. Then. On top of that, so we are the day before the signature. They decide, okay, we're going to reprint the thing in emergency. So back then, when you were printing things, you had to leave the ink to dry. And so a treaty is pretty FT kind of thing. And so they left during the night the document to dry. Except that during the night, the cleaning ladies in Rome arrived in the room and saw all this paper on the floor and thought it was discarded paper. So they just threw away the paper. And so the next morning, they arrive at the ceremony, and there is no treaty left. So what they did, like Christophe is mentioning, they just reprinting in emergency the first page of the treaty, and the rest was a stack of white paper. And so you have the official picture where you see the leaders signing a page. That's the first page of the treaty. The rest is a stack of white paper because they had to create the illusion for the picture, but otherwise it was a succession of unfortunate events.
And if I remember correctly, part of one of the reasons of the strike was because part of the translator was students, and they were striking for equal salary to the fixed civil servants.
I do remember something like that, indeed.
Yeah, that's
But yeah.
European as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the funny story behind the famous picture of the Treaty of Rome. When was the European Commission officially and permanently located in Brussels? Was it in 1951, 1957, 1993, or 2009? And thanks for the follow, Veterlin. It was in 1993. Story time. So initially, there was a whole discussion about where the commission was supposed to be. Initially, it was supposed to be in France. There was discussion to put in the south of France, near Nice, in Sophia Antipolis. The Germans felt it was a bit too club-made, so they said, yeah, no, we're not going to put that in the south of France. It was supposed to be in Paris then, except that then in a typical French own goal, the French started to get divided over whether it should be in Paris or not. And so, given the problems, the Belgians said, well, until the French sort out their mess, we can get the commission in Brussels. Belgium is the first country to appear in the alphabetical order. So they say, okay, we're going to host the commission until you, France and the others, take a decision over this.
They offered the Berlaymont building, which was being built as supposed to be the Belgian finance ministry.
And so, except that no decision was ever taken, and so for the next 35 years, when you add like official letters from the commission, you would have the address of the Berlaymont, so 200 Rue de la Loi, but it was written as a temporary address for 35 years, and you had to wait until 1993, and I think it was the Edinburgh Summit or something like that, where they set in stone what the location of every single institution, and that's where Brussels was finally recognized as officially the seat of the commission, but for 35 years it was a temporary address. All that because the French could not agree among themselves on whether it was supposed to be in Paris or elsewhere. I mean, typical French own goal.
It would have been worse. When the European Coal and Steel Community was founded, which was in Luxembourg, it was almost placed in Liège.
Oh Lord. Like the worst city you could actually put it in.
Seriously, it was between Liège and Luxembourg.
Wow.
Wow.
We dodged the bullet there.
Oh yeah.
All right. Question 4. What was the last major EU treaty to be negotiated in French? Was it the Treaty of Maastricht in 1992, the Treaty of Nice in 2001, the Constitutional Treaty in 2004, or the Treaty of Lisbon? As you may know, France loves to remind that French used to be the diplomatic language. A lot of treaties were drafted in French. A lot of international treaties were drafted in French. And it was a constitutional treaty. Until 2004, all the treaties were negotiated primarily in French. And it's not, so the Constitutional Treaty was the last one to be negotiated like that. Not because then there was the French no to the referendum, and so Brussels got pissed off and stopped negotiating in French. The main reason for that is that after 2004, you had the 10 member states from the East who came up, and so that changed a bit the balance of power, and so it was decided to do that in English, which, funnily enough, it happened because not against the French will, but just because of French passivity, which pissed off a bit the French, the Eastern ambassadors, because back then they knew that the French were very keen on speaking French, about Francophonie and all that, and so a lot of the Eastern European ambassadors had made the effort of learning French. And so when they were in Brussels, they saw that the French, well, no, don't care, well, let's do everything in English. But yeah, all the Eastern ambassadors were like, the fuck, I learned French for that. So again, another French own goal there. And since then, we negotiate everything in English. And I think the last institution where French remains like the primary language is the Court of Justice.
Court of Justice, yeah.
All the rest is English or multilingual. Question 5. How many countries were in the Eurozone when the Euro first launched in 2002? Not very original, I know. I had to play some like that. So 8, 12, 15, or 22. But it's not the funniest question, I agree. It was 12. And the 12 were Austria, Belgium, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain. And how many are there now?
19?
It's either 19 or 20. I forget. With Croatia joining, I don't...
With Croatia joining, it's going to be 20, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be 20, yeah. So from the 1st of January, it's going to be 20. So in 1980, a group of Federalist MEP led by Altiero Spinelli created a very influential club that managed to convince the parliament to draft a proposal for a treaty creating a European Union. What was the name of that club? The Dove Club, the Crocodile Club, the Carmel Club, or the Spinelli Group? It's the Crocodile Club. So it was, why the Crocodile Club? It was named after the restaurant where they were meeting. So it's a restaurant in Strasbourg. Yeah, called the Crocodile.
I'm one of those people who went to the College of Europe in Bruges. I had a course on the history of the EU. And the professor there, Wolfram Kaiser, spent an enormous amount of time of of interviewing the first EU civil servants. And I kid you not, this is something I've learned in his class.
So yeah, the Crocodile Club is a restaurant in Strasbourg. I think I went only once at an event, but why is it called the Crocodile Club? Because like in the main room you have literally like a maquette or something. I don't know if it's a real crocodile or not, but you have on the ceiling like a big crocodile hanging from the ceiling. And so he gathered this group of MEPs in the Crocodile restaurant. They became the Crocodile Club. They pushed Parliament to adopt this proposal for a treaty creating a European Union. So then we are in the beginning of the 80s. The Council rejected the proposal of treaty, but that kickstarted the process of negotiation that led to the Single European Act, and later the Maastricht Treaty, which created then the European Union. And so after Spinelli died in 1986, there were several groups of MEPs that appeared over time to, let's say, carry on the Crocodile Club, and the latest iteration of that is the Spinelli Group that is now active in Brussels. And that was recreated in 2010 by Verhofstadt, among others.
It's basically a site of pilgrimage, the Crocodile Club in Strasbourg.
An expensive site of pilgrimage, but
definitely.
Well, believe it or not, I once went on a pilgrimage to Jean Monnet's house.
I went there
Which is
too as a
Which is
kid.
something you can also do.
Yeah, as a kid, I went there because like I was living in the so around Paris, and so that's a place you could go to visit. So yeah, I went to Jean Monnet's house as well when I was a kid. Question 7. True or false? There was a proposal for a European Union that was written in prison during World War II. Is it true or is it false? Someone's not sure. Okay. And that's true. That's our good friend Altiero Spinelli, who we were speaking about. So he was imprisoned in 1941 by the fascists in the prison island of Ventotene. And so while in prison, he drafted the Ventotene Manifesto, which is one of the first documents to envision the idea of a European Union and a constitution. So he did that while he was in prison. And so that was one of the documents that became a reference for the later discussions to create the what became the European Union. But that was indeed drafted in prison during World War II.
It's smuggled out in printers.
Yes, indeed. True or false? France sued the European Parliament because of the Strasbourg seat. Is it true? Is it false? I see hesitation, like only 2 of you, 3. It's true. It's true. The CJU had to render judgment 5 times after the France attacked the European Parliament for decisions that were linked to the organization of votes in Brussels rather than Strasbourg. And for the
a couple of times linked to the mini plenaries, if I can
Exactly.
remember correctly.
Exactly. It was mostly linked to the mini plenaries, and the other were also about where to vote the budget. Because the budget normally is supposed to be voted in Strasbourg, and sometimes they were putting votes in the Brussels mini plenary. And so, out of these 5 times France sued the European Parliament, France lost 2 times, and the Parliament 2.
Wasn't there something similar also during or shortly after the pandemic?
Yes and
I recall
no.
there was like a similar discussion.
France did threaten to sue again the Parliament if it was not coming back to or restarting the plenary session in Strasbourg, but ultimately they did not because Parliament started to reorganize indeed the sessions there. And one of the reasons why they sue, because in the treaties, of course, Strasbourg is the official seat of the parliament, but in the treaties it said that the parliament must gather 12 times a year in Strasbourg, and notably to vote the budget, to vote the important files. Question 9. In 2010, the foundation stone under the European Central Bank building in Frankfurt was filled with numerous objects. What is not among these objects? A set of building plans, a set of banknotes, newspaper from the 27 countries that were members of the EU back then, or a copy of the treaty that created the euro. So what was not among these objects that are now under the building of the central bank, the European Central Bank? Ironically, it's a copy of the treaty that created the euro that's not under there. Otherwise, you have a set of building plans. I don't understand why they would put building plans under there. I don't get the symbolism of it. I don't know. Maybe they, in case someone wants to do a prison break, they're going to dig
like
out
a time capsule, maybe.
Yeah. I don't get the why building plans, but otherwise, yes, you have banknotes, a set of banknotes that were of European euro banknotes, and newspaper from the day of the introduction of the euro from the 27 member states back then. And final question for this first phase. Which country refused by referendum to ratify the association treaty with Ukraine in 2016? Was it Hungary? Was it the Netherlands? Greece, or Denmark? It was the Netherlands. And the irony of that, first the story. So in 2016, the Dutch rejected at 60% by referendum the EU association agreement with Ukraine that was supposed to improve the trade relation between the EU and Ukraine. Even if the turnout was very low, it was 32%. The referendum was still seen as a form of barometer of the anti-EU feeling at the moment in the Netherlands. The irony of it was that right at this moment, right in 2016, the Netherlands was the country having the presidency of the EU. And so it was a bit of a humiliation for them to be at the presidency of the EU and to have their own country sabotage the process to have the ratification, the association agreement with Ukraine. Ultimately, there was this association agreement with Ukraine that was signed, but it was delayed by 1 year. So it was in 2017 only that the association agreement was signed. The time that the Dutch needed to sort out their political mess around that referendum that was non-binding, but still. I thought that was an interesting story given the current context, that at some point not everyone in the EU was so enthusiastic about having more relationships and links with Ukraine. Bearing in mind that already back then we had already the Maidan Revolution that was in 2014. So yeah, that's I thought that was interesting in the context. And so let's see the final results. Oh, a tie. Okay, so that puts Team Sazumiche at 33 and Team Gokursula at 31. Let me update the scores. Chat, make sure I don't make a mess with my math. You now know that I'm terrible at math, but I think that I can do a +10. I think I can manage that, I hope. All right, let's end this one. Stop presenting. Perfect. All right, so now we're go. So that was it for the pure quiz part of the bubble quiz. So what were your impressions? Was it too easy? Was it too hard? Do share your impression.
I
definitely. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
No, I felt like the last one was hard, but it went pretty well. So.
You should have asked the question rather, which court case started the process of the European Single Act? Because that's a much more interesting story.
Okay, I don't know the story, so do tell the story now. I'm sold.
I kid you not. It's about how can I politely say that? It was about it was about importing inflatable dolls for a certain purpose. I'm not going to explain further. Into France, which the French were barring, quote, for I think they said something for public health reasons. The German company, which is Beate Uhse, sued and won, using the example of freedom of movement of goods, and it's one of the court cases that started the Single European Act process.
Do send me the reference of the case. Like I definitely have to.
I forgot what the name of the exact case was, but it's one of the things you learn at university.
Okay.
It sounds easily Googleable.
Yeah. Okay. Inflated dolls. Okay. CJU case, and you said that kickstart which process? The European.
The Single Act process, so the single market process. One of the cases, not the only one. But.
Okay, I'll definitely Google that because that sounds indeed like an interesting story, and I've never heard of it. Okay, so now we have to go back to the first slides up. I sent you the link in the chat. You should be able to use it right now. I see 4 of you are connected. That's good. Up. Adjust that for chat. Boom. It's pretty. We are right on time. All right. So that was the first game. So let's go to the next part. The next game is called the Seat Dilemma. So pay attention. Each team will have 2 themes with 5 questions to answer. So each one of you will have to answer 5 questions. It's a speed round. So you have to answer these 5 questions within 1 minute. These questions are absurd. They require no particular knowledge. It's absurd questions. But the answers can be only X, Y, or both. For each correct answer that you get 5 points. If you make a mistake, you give 2 points to the opposing team. The example. The theme of let's say the first theme is Manfred Weber, John Wick, or both. He has a depression beard. You have to answer both. He killed someone with a pencil. John Wick. He loves bridges. Manfred Weber. So I will make a series of statements and you can only answer Manfred Weber, John Wick, or both, or like according to the theme is going to be like one particular answer. Okay, you seem confused, Christophe.
Yeah, I'll try to make sense of it.
Okay. Any other questions or?
I guess it will be clearer once we start.
Okay,
probably.
I mean, again, let's take this example. The first one would be my sentence. The only answers would be Manfred Weber, John Wick, or both. And then I will throw you five statements, and you have to answer this statement with either Manfred Weber, John Wick, or both.
Okay.
And so my first statement would be, he has a depression beard. The correct answer would say both of them have a depression beard. He killed someone with a pencil. John Wick killed someone with a pencil. He loves bridges. Manfred Weber loves bridges. So it's a statement, and you can answer only one of those three answers. And you have to do that within 1 minute. Clear enough? All right. Let me check So Team Sazu Michel, you are ahead, so I would start with you. So first I'm going to set up my timer. Let me check. What is next? Okay. So, who wants to start? So you go one at a time. Craig or Leonardo? Who wants to go first?
I'll give it to Craig because he's the most EU savvy among the two of us.
Again, you don't need to know anything. It's absurd questions.
Yeah, of course. But I mean,
we can't hear you, Craig.
Is there a link? I don't.
You don't have the. Yeah, you don't need additional link. For now, we will be only on this page. So just before we start, I wanted to set up to make sure that you were okay. So Craig, you're ready to go first?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. The first theme is Europe, a rope, or both. So the answer can only be Europe, a rope, or both.
All right. Yep.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
It ties people together.
Both.
You can do kinky things with it.
You can argue this one. I would say both.
You can have a phobia about it.
Both.
It's a mess to untangle.
Both.
You want your kids to hang out in it.
Europe.
All right, let's see. Let's go back to the result, to it, and we're gonna go one by one because it's not always the easiest. Up. Where am I? So, it ties people together. You said both. That's correct. You can do kinky things with it. You said a rope. That's correct as well. You can have a phobia about it. You said.
Both, didn't I?
You said both. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct. It's a mess to untangle. You said both. And you want to hang your kids in it. Of course, that's Europe. So you scored a perfect score in there. So I'm going to adjust that in the score. So you made 5 good answers, which brings you to a complete score of 58 for Team Sazu Michel right now, which of course can change in a minute. So Leonardo, get ready because you will be next.
Okay, let's go.
Let me get ready. Switch to player 2. Your theme is Van der Leyen, Van Damme, or both.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. He speaks French, but you don't quite understand it.
Both.
It's roundhouse kick you if you piss it off.
Ooh. This is actually, I would say both also in this case.
It's a meme.
Oh, von der Leyen.
Hugh Jackman carries it in his arm.
Oh, this is definitely von der Leyen.
He comes up with these weird concepts.
Ooh. Both.
And so he had 3 correct answers out of the 5.
Ouch.
The roundhouse kick, it was Van Damme. Van Damme is known for his martial art. Personally, I've never seen Van Damme roundhouse kick anyone. don't tell me
I
if you...
expect her to do it with Hungary sometime.
Yeah, you could indeed expect it, but yeah, in speak French, but don't quite understand it, of course.
She did it with
it's
her
both.
eyes to Charles Michel, I think.
Yes, but yeah, I think she didn't lift the leg enough for it to count as a roundhouse kick. So I'm counting 3 correct answers for you for this one up. So that's a total of 8 and 2 correct answers. So that brings up, let's do the total. That brings Team Sazu Michel to a total of 73. And Team Gokursula to a total of 35 for now. Alright. Who wants to take it next? Sophia or Christophe?
I'll go.
Sophia? Alright. So, first, let me reset my thing. Okay. Okay, so that's again the rules. You know them by now. Your thing will be a DJ, a DG, or both. Okay, you ready?
I am ready.
Everyone makes suggestions about what it should do next.
Both.
Watching 2 of them battling each other is very entertaining.
Totally both.
You want the most popular of them at your events.
Oh yes, both.
You could listen to them all night long.
DJs.
It's a bad sign when it starts taking the mic.
Both.
And we'll have to unfortunately disagree on 2 of them. Like taking the mic, I would say it's more of a bad sign if it's a DJ doing it. And personally, I tend to say that it's more entertaining to see a DJ battle than a DG battle. So I will count 3 correct answers for you.
I would like to contest the DG battle. It can be very entertaining.
You must have seriously. You need to follow the entire battle over the chip stack and between DG Comp and DG Connect. It was hugely entertaining if you know where to look for it.
Okay, impress me. What was particularly funny about the DGs?
That DG Comp was manhandled into accepting what was in the chip stack, amongst other things.
All right. So let's do a quick point on the scores. That puts Team Sazu Michel at 77 and Team Gokursula at 50. Up. And Christophe, are you ready? So your theme will be Macron, a macaron, or both. Are you ready? Speak because I'm not sure if your mic works. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, let's dive in. It's a French brand. Macron, you said? Okay. Macaron, okay. It's airy.
Macron.
It tastes good.
Macaron.
It's right wing.
Ooh, that's a good one. Both.
It's cougar material.
Both.
And so out of those, you had 3 correct.
Okay.
So which one did you get wrong? Cougar material, I disagree with the fact that macaron is exclusively cougar material. I think macaron are popular as well with young people, I would say. So I will disagree with this one. And it's a French brand. I would say both are our French brand. And Macron, you can associate it with France, I would say. So I will count 3 correct answers.
Yeah, he's the most Anglo-Saxon of ever French presidents, but I would say that.
True, but
And I use the word Anglo-Saxon very specifically here.
all right. And so let's do the final leaderboard for this. Up. That puts Team Sazu-Michel at a total of 81 points. And Team Gokursula at a total of 65 points. So I'm afraid that for the final part, it's only going to be Team Sazu-Michel. So it's going to be Craig and Leonardo that are going to compete in this third and final phase of the bubble quiz, which I will explain in a second. So this third phase is called the midday meme. It goes like this. You will be provided with a meme template. Each of you, so Leonardo and Craig, only the 2 of you are playing right now. So Leonardo and Craig, you will have 1 minute 30 to come up with a meme with that template, starting with when, and you send it to me, the sentence that you want to put privately. You use the Zoom chat, you send it to me privately, the sentence that you want to put with this meme. I will create the meme, I will put it on screen, and the audience will vote on who has the funniest meme. Bearing in mind, again, it's not me who is voting, it's not Christophe, it's not Sophia, it's the chat, who is not necessarily an absolute expert on the EU. So you have to take that into account when preparing your meme. Is that clear? And so you will have 3 rounds. So 3 memes you will have to make each. You're playing at the same time, so when I say the go, both of you have start the thinking machine, and you send me your sentence. Clear for everyone?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's start.
It's on.
You have 1 minute 30. It's the meme first time, and you have to start with when. And of course, when you're done, you don't say your.
Sorry, do we copy the template or just?
No. You just send me the sentence. I will create the template. I will create the thing. So just send me the sentence when blah blah blah. You don't say your sentence. You don't give an indication so that the audience is not influenced in its choice. You have 1 more minute. I try to take memes that are not too niche and that are, let's say, large enough to provide Okay, got 1. Okay, I've got 2. So give me a minute to create the templates for everyone. That's first one up. I'm just saving it in the right place. Up, second one.
Oh, we even have feline companions. Nice.
Up. Two. All right. Now I'm going to make that magically appear on the chat. I just need to change that. Where did I put that? All right. Up. Okay. Chat, just give me a minute. I'm going to adjust everything so you can see properly, and then you'll be able to vote. Come on. All right. Okay, so you have option 1, and you have option 2. So option 1 is, screw you, Twitch, when taking the train to Strasbourg, first time. And option 2 is when you step into negotiations of rule of law with Poland and Hungary. And so I will launch up in a second a poll so that you can decide which meme is the best, which meme is the funniest. And you answer meme number 1 or meme number 2. And you have 1 minute, chat, to vote. Making it slightly bigger.
Do we not see these? I can't see them anywhere.
No, I will send them to you in chat. Just
Okay.
a sec. That way,
I mean,
no reason that you don't enjoy your own work. Up. This. Up. Here's the first one, and here's the second one.
oh, okay.
Few more seconds for the chat to vote which meme you find the funniest out of the 2 proposals there, 1 or 2. Voilà, résultat. And it's number 2 that won. And so number 2 was the Hungary and Poland reference, which came from Leonardo. So Leonardo wins this first round. Up, let's go to the next one. You can go away, and you can go away. All right. Ready for the next one? I need to just reset my timer. Okay. Let's go. Second one. When blah blah blah, and I took that personally. 1 minute 30 to come up with something. Sophia, Christophe, were you inspired by the first meme, or even this one, or you're happy that you didn't end up in this round?
I would say for this one, I would say when Michelle took my seat.
That's a good one. Oh,
You should have said it before I said mine.
yeah. All right. I have the answers of everyone, so I'll just do quickly the template. Up. Straight. Up. And up. 3, 4. All right. I have the templates. Let me put that in the chat so that everyone can see it. That's 1. Boom. And that's 2. Boom. I need to reduce things, but it becomes visible. It's annoying when it does that. I have my interface that is rebelling. I will launch the votes in the chat. Stay with me, chat. 1 or 2. Which one is funnier? You have 1 minute to vote. I will send you in the chat the memes that you made. And to be fair, the reference to the Sofagate was, the message was sent before Christophe made the suggestion. So
Great minds.
great minds and all that. Chat, vote. You have a bit less than 30 seconds now. Up. Let's see. And so, Christophe, Sophia, which one you would vote out of the two? Spitzer Candidat or Sofagate?
Have we seen the different ones this time?
Yeah, I sent. Oh shit! No, sorry, I sent it to Leonardo only. I will send it to everyone. And it's the first one that won, which is the Spitzenkandidat reference. So sorry, I forgot to. I sent it to the wrong people. Okay, chat, tag, and tag. Okay. So now you should get it. And the first one was Leonardo again won, so you're taking the lead. I'm afraid there, but we'll still play the final round.
Can I just say that Craig really deserved this?
I'm surprised that indeed chat didn't choose the. He can't. Where was I? My thing? Okay, and final one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Final one. When and this happens.
I have a suggestion.
Okay, I've received one. Up. Okay. The two, I like the two. I like the two. I have to say. So let me save them.
My suggestion would be is when money is found in the apartment of an MEP from your political group.
That could work too.
when you're asked to explain the taxonomy regulation.
Oh, also nice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good one.
Up, saving the last one. All right. Let me put that in the chat. Tag. Up. That's one. And that's two. So I skipped a word. The second one reads, when I've created a new transparency register. And so I will launch the poll. Which one is funnier? 1 or 2? And chat, you have 1 minute to decide. In the meantime, I'm sending the memes to everyone in Zoom. That way you can enjoy the work of the other. Up, up, and up. All right. Sophia, you had a suggestion for this one?
Yeah, it was the taxonomy. When somebody.
Yeah, the taxonomy. Yes, taxonomy one. Yeah, it's a good one. Oh! I'm breaking everything.
Oh, the comitology is also great.
I'm wondering if I know I used this this template in the past. I forgot in which context. I mean, what did I put? I don't think I did comitology, so I won't call it plagiarism. All right, a few more seconds. Let's see the results. And it's a tie, actually. It's a tie from the chat. So 2 to 1. So I would say that Leonardo, you are the winner of this first edition of the Bubble Quiz.
Ooh. Do I win any prize?
No, unfortunately you do not. So sorry, you could switch in my camera settings. Up, I'm putting everyone.
Not even a book on comitology.
No, unfortunately not. I didn't want it to inflict that to a winner. I mean, maybe a loser would get that, but
Fair.
even then, I don't know if it's something that I want to inflict to anyone.
You win the knowledge that you beat all the Brussels veterans.
Exactly. I mean,
That's true.
1 year in Brussels and you win the first bubble quiz. Indeed, that's an achievement. I will definitely say that. So
But
yeah,
I had very valid competitors, to be honest. It was tough.
Yeah, definitely. And so like what was your impression? Like now we are done. We finished the game. Leonardo is the official winner of the first bubble quiz. So, did you like it? What was your impression?
The next time we're doing a team building activity, I'm going to steal that idea of names from the transparency register, true or false. That was a very good one.
I have a few more like that because I like, of course, like there were 10 questions per quiz, but I have prepared extra questions like for potential future editions. So there's, I can say that there is more that can be digged out of the transparency register in terms of fun acronyms and all that. There is definitely potential for more.
Well, I know it was very difficult to organize it like the way it is, but actually it would also be fun to have it in person sometime.
I'd love to. I mean, there it's it's like everything. I have to then find the place to do it,
Yeah,
and
of course.
and the organization, because I mean that's something I want to do in the future if I can next year. I'd like to do like a live version, like in a bar or something. I think that would be also pretty funny. Then, I mean, in this case, you could have the audience participate and vote in an easy way. But yeah, definitely that's something that would be, I think, pretty funny on a Thursday night in Plux after a couple of beers.
Ready for a Friday night.
This was funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Well
Thank
done,
you.
well done.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. Chat, do of course you're free to give me feedback as well. And yeah, I mean, that was it for this first edition. I will take any criticism, constructive or not, on that to improve the future edition. Because I do hope to be able to do more edition of that next year. I know I want to do one in French at some point next year. So there will be definitely that for the French speaker out there. But yeah, I mean, I hope that at the very least, I hope that it was better than what the commission came up with with Van der Leyen's game.
Definitely.
Or Global Gateway.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean,
the rest that I mentioned earlier about those dolls into
Yeah,
and it's not a joke, it's a real thing. It actually happened.
Yeah, I'm going to
guess
check
that-
it out.
I guess that Christoph can be a really, let's say, valuable helper for the next editions, because I mean he has like such an extensive knowledge of the funny stuff.
That's a standard thing you learn at the College of Europe. An enormous amount of stupid amount of anecdotes.
I mean, that's something I do regularly. I often ask on Twitter, okay, if you have like anecdotes and stuff like that, do send them my way, because I have like on the channel, and so maybe like people saw it tonight during the in the chat. Like I have a bot that spawns like every 20 minutes or so, like a fun fact about the EU or a quote. So I have a very extensive list of anecdotes and stuff like that.
Another fun fact: what was the job of Jean Monnet before he entered politics? This is very interesting. No, he entered politics in World War One as an organizer of the war economy. But before
He
that,
was like a clerkman, no?
No, he was a whiskey salesman. He had his company. His family had a liquor business, and that's why he knew so much about international trade.
Jean Monnet was a whiskey seller. Okay.
Whiskey Calvados liquor.
Okay.
And is the family business still on now?
I honestly don't know, but listen, one of the reasons he was chosen in World War One and later in World War Two to organize the Allied economies was because he knew so much about global trade by being a liquor salesman.
Okay.
That's a good one.
See, I told you that Christoph would be a valuable.
I don't know, I mean,
addition.
send them my way. Whatever you have, Christoph, you send it my way. I will put it to good use. That's for sure. But yeah, thank you all for I mean, making the effort to try this new game. You had no idea what was coming for you. You all played it very well. So I'm very glad of the outcome. I'm very glad that you enjoyed it as well. Chat, as of myself, so like I said, tonight was the final stream of the season, so I'm off on holiday after that. You won't see me until January. I haven't decided yet what we're going to do when I'm going to restart the interviews and all the usual content on the channel. But yeah, you go on which reminds me, of course, you can follow me on all my social media. You have the links there, so Twitter, Discord, and all that. So at least on Discord, I will restart a discussion as I do usually to discuss, okay, what kind of things you want me to do for the next season. Do you want more interviews? Do you want games? Do you want whatever? So do pitch in. That's always appreciated. I saw a number of you already following and subscribing. That's always, of course, very much appreciated. So, of course, follow the channel. Do subscribe if you want to the channel. It's always very much appreciated. I hope that you enjoy the content. Do give me the feedback and all that. And yeah, all that's left for me to say. So, wish you all happy holidays for those of you who don't have to work, or you have to still work for another week before going to holidays. I'm among the lucky ones to go away already next week. But yeah,
The only one among the four of us. Can I?
Yeah. I mean, there's the privilege of being an influencer. Maybe no, it's not.
The company still exists. It's called Monet and Sea Cognac.
Money
Still
and
exists.
company. Okay.
Monet Compagnie Cognac. It still
Yeah,
exists.
company.
I'm so going to buy a bottle from. I don't even like cognac, but I mean, just for the principle of having like,
Legacy
Yeah.
cognac.
I mean, do you have like shares in the company, Christophe? Or
I don't even like cognac, but it's one of those things you learn and you remember.
Okay, so
but
yeah.
Again, the company still exists.
Okay, well, I will definitely buy a bottle and exhibit it in my flat. See, look, I have an artifact. It's a EU artifact.
Yeah, it's a Horcrux.
Well, it's owned these days by Hennessy, apparently, which is yeah, that makes it slightly less illustrious,
Yeah.
but it still exists.
Well,
That's gotta hurt.
we can still go with the story about back in the days. You could find some Europe in there, some European links in there, but yeah. But well, okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Happy holidays, and I hope to see you all at some point in January for when we will restart the streams and all that. And in the meantime, bye everyone.